We're going to go Tools, My Drive, Stories, The Mandates Ascension, and Arcs. Okay, so we're going to start with an attack approaches. Now, I would like to bump down my music for this. So, an attack approaches. My body hums with the motion of the floor below me, swaying back and forth with an urgent pulse, the tempo tasting of danger and fear. I try to lose myself in the repeated swaying of this world, trying to hide from the fear that hides. See, that's the kind of thing I need to change. Trying to hide from the fear that hides just beyond my thoughts. Focusing harder and harder on the dream as it slips from my grasp. I'm overwhelmed with fear. I'm lost in a primal sense of danger. I vote naps. Okay. That's what this person is trying to do. They're trying to stay asleep. Focusing harder and harder on the dream as it slips from my grasp, I'm overwhelmed by fear. I'm lost in a primal sense of danger, berated from all sides by this incessant motion that permeates everything I am. I wrench my eyes open, realizing the danger I sensed was not a dream. Trying to wake up without moving, I search the room for what alerted me, finding that the air hums with a feeling, as if the sound is happening but I can't hear it. The air shifting and writhing like it would before a drummer beats, or the swell of a piper as they take their breath. Every motion of the air around me feels hostile, like it's been given an intent that it didn't have before. My very breathing feels acidic in my mouth, the gust scraping my throat as it exits, trying desperately to make out the direction or purpose of this bizarre feeling. I lay in bed as I wait for the attack to be more clear. I listen. So, first of all, we need to fix this guy. Trying to hide from the fear that hides just beyond my thoughts. Okay. So, I think this section works. Trying to hide. Shouldn't it be as they exit at breaths? Da, 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 da. The gust scraping my throat as it exits. What do you mean? Okay, I see. So the gust scraping my throat as they exit. Is that what you mean? Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Here? Yeah, got it. Oh, I need to open this to edits. Hold on. Or it should already be, I'm not sure. Yep, you should be able to edit this document too. So when you go and make an edit, I'll actually get something on the side like this that says that a request for an edit was made. So if you see something like how I didn't capitalize this I, you can change it and I'll get something over here saying that it's been changed. And we'll actually be able to start a discussion about that before I approve it. Okay, so back to here. I don't want them both to say hide. Trying to hide from the fear that hides. That feels off. So what if we do lurks? Trying to hide from the fear that lurks just beyond my thoughts. And instead of thoughts, we could do perception. Um, lingers to me kind of feels like it's left. So if you think about it as this is sitting there waiting for something to happen, or in this case, it's coming, right? Lingers to me kind of feels like it was there, like you would say, an attack lingers, like the feeling of a battle. So if you were just in a battle, you would say the feeling of danger lingers as we try and relax, something along that. Obviously, not the best worded, but so if we reread the first half of it, it now says An attack approaches. My body hums with the motion of the floor below me, swaying back and forth with an urgent pulse, the tempo tasting of danger and fear. I try to lose myself in the repeated swaying of this world, trying to hide from the fear that lurks just beyond my perception. So yeah, I definitely like the feel of that better. It's not as repetitive. Now, if we look back at this, the repeated swaying of this world, I feel like that could be changed to something else. What I'm trying to do is get like a general idea of what it's supposed to be saying, because as we go through the whole thing, it's a little bit off. Um, Now if we go secretly hops on cape. I have to watch that now. You're not there, but I'm going to be watching. We're going to open that for now, though. Then suddenly I feel insane, needlessly second guessing my powers like I did years ago. Berating myself mentally, what am I doing? Listening to the wind for an opponent. Now, I've never liked that phrase. The idea I'm trying to get across is that they feel that they're insane for listening to their powers, for thinking that something like that is going on when there's no obvious action happening. Because the sensation they're having is like a really, really slight buzzing and a feeling that the air is moving. Like, if you think about what happens when the wind passes you, you have the sound of the wind and the look of the things moving around you. But when you really sit down and think about it, you know that the wind is there, and the combination of all of those things happening is the feeling of the wind. Um, so you have the cooling, the uh, you have the cooling effect of the wind, you have the sound of it, you have the things moving around you. Um, but then you have the sensation where it's like, this is wind. There's motion in the air around me. And that's the sensation that they're feeling. And it's something you could easily just toss aside and say, oh, I'm imagining it. And that's what I want them to try and think about here. But I don't know how to say it. So going on, I toss the thought aside for now as I continue to mutter and get out of bed to start my day. I have things to do with or without a threat. Now they're continuing to say, uh, even if it's true, I still have to move on. Stepping out of my house and looking out on my fields, I tally up what needs to be done today. It's getting close to harvest, so I have to make sure everything is prepared for the long haul. Now the next sentence is a little bit off too. I uncharacteristically use my powers, watering the plants and summoning little clouds out of the morning mist. So I feel like it should be something like, uncharacteristically, I use my powers to water plants by summoning little clouds out of the morning mist. So that should actually be all of this. Uncharacteristically, if I could type. Did they get it right? I did not. Wow, that's like twice as long. Uncharacteristically, I use my powers to water my... Let's do fields instead of plants. To water my fields by summoning... That is not even how you spell fields. By summoning mist... No. By summoning clouds... Clouds from the morning mist. Okay. Uncharacteristically, I use my powers to summon water... To water my fields by summoning clouds from the morning mist. Trying my best to convince myself that this is not a dream. Now, that's a little bit weird, too. Movember! What Mauve doesn't know won't kill him. Nessa. Okay, that's it. Yep. 3 hours. That's how long you're going to be banned for. Do your schoolwork. There you go. Schoolwork. Yep. I'm almost done. Well, now you've been banned for 3 hours because you were procrastinating. Do extra schoolwork. That's what you get. Okay. Da, 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 da. Trying my best to convince myself that this is not a dream, and what is here and in front of me is real, and the danger that my powers is warning me is coming. Okay. I'm gonna just start a new sentence here. So, do I have caps lock on? As I try to convince myself that myself. What? Is that? I'm confused. So is it, was, okay. I'm so confused. Okay. As I try to convince myself that what is happening around me is real and that I must trust this extra sense. I want to be vague, but at the same time, that just makes it feel awkward. As I try to convince myself that what is happening around me is real, and that I must trust this extra sense. Hmm. The next sentence starts, my mind wakes to the exertion of my morning chores, and I remember where the sensation comes from. And that should be a nice transition into the next one. Also, using my powers to water my fields doesn't sound right to me. Let's see, where is that? I use my powers to water my fields. Okay, let's see. Maybe we could easily just change that to the. Okay, so my body wakes to the exertion and requirements. We need to go one sentence before. Okay, so now we've got this description. So we've gotten rid of one sentence and reworded it. So my body wakes to the exertion and requirements of my chores. I get this nagging feeling that I should recognize the sensation. So I think we actually need a better transition here. As my mind wakes to the exertion of my morning chores, the sound suddenly shifts. Okay, let's do that. Then suddenly I feel insane, needlessly second-guessing my powers like I did years ago, berating myself mentally. What am I doing? Listening to the wind for an opponent. I toss the thought aside for now as I continue to mutter and get out of bed to start my day. I have things to do, with or without a threat. Stepping out of my house and looking out on my fields, I tally up what needs to be done today. It's getting close to harvest, so I have to make sure everything is prepared for the long haul. Uncharacteristically, I use my powers to water the fields by summoning clouds from the morning mist. As I try to convince myself what is happening around me is real and that I must trust this extra sense. My mind wakes to the exertion of my morning chores, the sound suddenly shifts. That sentence is not complete. As I try to convince myself that what is happening around me is real. Your mental is missing an L. I will get that. So I try to convince myself that what is happening around me is real, and that I must trust this extra sense. My mind wakes to the exertion of my morning chores, and the sound suddenly shifts. Okay, there we go. Where do we have mentally? It's what I'm trying to find. Beginning of the paragraph. Ah, got it. It's weird that it still says it's a correct word, but okay. You're just gonna get on another server. Well, I can't do anything about that. Mom banned me for not doing classes for 3 hours. James responds, good, if you're skipping school, you can't play Capecraft. It's underlined on my side. Oh, I must have messed something up with my dictionary then. Okay. Let's see if I can actually fix that. So, I may have done like this and then gone add to dictionary. Oh no. What? I don't even know. So like if I misspell myself like that, right? I can right click it and then do add Mustadilf to dictionary. And it'll just go away. It'll never correct it again. Okay. Let's see if we can reword this. So what am I doing? Listening to the wind for an opponent. Mustadilf looks like a fancy place. A fantasy place. Yeah, I guess. I third that. Self-taught. Exactly! Yeah, not how it works. That's my last bit of pop until tomorrow. I'm sad. Okay. Yeah, I have to wait on my paycheck. So, yeah, I'm not in the best positions. Da-da-da. I'm level 30! Nice, you got purple. Okay. Ugly color. Well, I think it works well with the way they have their blue scheme set up, but... Okay, berating myself mentally. What if we say something about how they can't trust their senses? Why am I... No, not trust. I don't think trust is the right word. Why is this feeling so important? Why is this feeling so important? I don't even know what it means. Meaned. Okay. I have been pinged. Da, 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 da. There is no danger in ignoring what you don't know. I think that works. I think you should leave it at the first question. I think a session. I don't. I think a second question would be needed in this context. Um. Wouldn't. Okay. Maybe. I think berating kind of says. Um, hmm. I think berating kind of says you should do 2 questions. Yeah, it would. Hmm. Yeah, let's just leave it at 1 question, because the second question does sound weird. Okay. Yeah, that does look better. Okay. You think of it and toss it aside. Yeah, that works. Hold on. What's up, Nessa? I don't know the answer. Well, maybe you should figure it out. You think of it and toss it aside. Oh no, I need to convert 52.3 weeks into days. Divide it by 7? You're allowed scratch paper, right? No? So you have to do that mentally. Yeah, okay, so what's 7 times 7? Oh yeah, you would multiply. Duh. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been in math class. Reasons not to ask Mom for help. That's not gonna help you in the future. Da, 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 da. Okay. 7 times 50 equals 350. Yeah, like if 7 times 5 is 35, 7 times 50 would be 350. 366.1. Interesting. Nessa, Gene's trying to walk you through how to do this in your head. Yeah, so point 0.3 would be like 3.5 or something. No, I'd imagine point 0.3 would mean like actual point 0.3 of a week. So like it'd be point 0.2 less than half. Yep, 0.3 times 7. So in that case, you'd be dividing 7 into 10. Yeah. There you go. 2.1. Magic. And it actually works out too, because it's 350 plus 14 plus 2.1. That's 366.1. And then move the decimal place. Yeah, that makes sense. I'd imagine it would be a pretty big pain with massive decimal places, but then you would just do the same thing you did before. That sounds like a pain. Um, Let's see. Please don't spam people with friend requests. Okay. I keep denying it. Yeah, I've sent him a message about it now. Okay. Let's get back to this. So, then suddenly I feel insane, needlessly second guessing my powers like I did years ago, berating myself mentally. Why is this feeling so important? I toss the thought aside for now as I continue to mutter and get out of bed to start my day. Yeah, but you used a calculator. I have things to do, with or without a threat. Stepping out of my house and looking out on my fields, I tally up what needs to be done. Today! It's getting close to harvest, and so I have to make sure everything is prepared for the long haul. Uncharacteristically, I use my powers to water my fields by summoning clouds from the morning mists. As I try to convince myself what is happening around me is real, I must trust this extra sense. My mind wakes to the exertion of my morning chores, and the sound suddenly shifts. It's just enough that I can make it out right now. It's a slow rise and fall, as if to a beat too far apart for me to notice. Scrambling to gather my things, I attempt to block out my fear. The last time I heard the sound, everything changed. Running up the path from my field to the shed, in terror, I try to gather my thoughts about what's approaching. We were told she was stable, that she had found where she was supposed to be. What happened to set her off like this again, and why did she come this way? My thoughts stop as I near my shed. It's been so long since I've required the use of my tool. The moment hangs heavy in my mind as I consider the effects of wielding it again. Yeah, this part made me reread it 3 times. Yeah, I can see why. Okay, so let's go here. It's a slow rise and fall, as if to a beat too far apart for me to notice. Yeah, that's kind of the point. I'm wanting it to be a little bit ambiguous. So, it's too far apart for me to notice. I think that makes sense. Scrambling to gather my things, I attempt to block out my fear. The last time I heard this sound, everything changed. Let's see. The last time I heard the sound, everything changed. Let's try that. So, I nearly lost the fight, maybe. Running up the path from my field to the shed in terror. See, this is kind of the difference that I feel here, or the change. It suddenly goes from, I need to convince myself that this is happening, to, oh my gosh, I need to run away in terror. So, I hate science and math put together. Math is science, though. Math by default is science. Like, if you're doing math class, you're doing science. Explain that. Like, did you see that one clip? Is math related to science? I have not. I mean, they are different in some ways. Like, in math, you actually have proofs. Like, this is unambiguously true. Whereas in science, you can really only have theories. Um, so, yeah, that's a thing. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this. I need a link that I can click.
So have a seat.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
It's called Star Talk. Is math related to science?
Most people who could be born will never be born, will never even exist. So the fact
Like
that
sperm.
sure, yeah.
I mean, it's science.
The rest don't.
Where do they go?
They're dead.
What? Just. Who is that?
So have a seat.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
It's called Star Talk. Is math related to science?
Most people who could be born will never be born, will never even exist. So the fact
Like
that
sperm.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's science.
The rest don't.
Where do they go?
They're dead.
Okay. That's the thing, I guess. Yeah, I knew who the guy was. I didn't know who the girl was, but that's a thing, I guess. Okay, then. Ah, okay. As I try to convince... No, where are we starting? Yeah, I guess, Ewan. It was just sent. And I'm like, okay, let's see what this is. And it's just complete nonsense. Because Nessa said that she hates science and math put together. And I'm like, math is a form of science. So Gene sent that clip. And I'm like, okay. Hold on. What smells really good in your house? What? Are you... I don't even know. I mean, everybody's bad at physics until they're good at physics. Physics is one of those things that you're just bad at. Because you can't understand it very well. Your mind isn't built for it. Okay. Stepping out of my house and looking out... No, we're starting here. So, last time I heard this sound, I nearly lost the fight. So, then she's running up the path. I feel like we need to make this transition into, oh my gosh, I need to get away, a little bit smoother. It's a slow rise and fall, as if to a beat too far apart for me to notice. Mathematics is just an abstract language, just allowing very precise descriptions and predictive power. I was once part of a space club in my school, and while we were talking about who discovered certain planets, was like, who discovered Earth though? I mean, that's a valid question. It's like, who discovered we were on one of those planets? But that's the same answer as the guy who discovered or who disproved heliocentrism. Or no, not heliocentrism. What is it? Heliocentrism is where you're centered on the sun. What is it, the other one? It's the guy who discovered heliocentrism. I don't remember. Okay. Mr. Helios. Why isn't there a vaccine against death yet? What level? Will probably put me to sleep. She had to do math in her head to do a decimal point of weeks into days. So, if that gives you any idea. Top 10 questions science still can't answer. We aren't to the level of the Greek gods yet. We don't have a vaccine for death, sadly. Yeah, but she had to do division with a... No, it's multiply. I got tricked by that too, Ewan. Weeks into days is multiply. Yeah, it's multiply by 7 with a decimal point. I did the same exact thing, Ewan. Okay. Well, multiply and divide are the same operation, just off an opposite direction. Yeah, but it makes a difference to the output. It's like, oh, if you want to go to your bathroom, you can do the same thing walking that way, but, it's going to take 10, 30 times as longer, or as long. How many days in a year? 364.2 or something? 0.4? One or the other? It's 364 in a decimal place. It makes it to where we have to have leap years every 4 years. Or leap days. One or the other. 320, Nessa? Seriously? 320 days in the year. Nessa, how do you have 320 days in your year? And what calendar are you using, Gene? Okay, I'm gonna solve this. How many days? Dates before relationship. Okay. Days in a year. Okay. 365. Okay. What about nanoseconds? I don't even think I can count that high. 366.2422 stellar days in one mean tropical year. Why do we even have leap years? Because our years don't line up properly. On my home planet, they had 402 days in a year. How long was a day, though? Was it longer than your year? How many days are in the year 2018? 365. How many days are in the year 2017? 260 working days. Okay. A day was like an hour longer than Earth. There are different ways to count a day. There are. How many centuries in a year? 0.01. Okay. Decade. No, I want to do how many years are in a year. Let me do it. Dang it. It's not going to let me do it. Fun fact, the word month used to be moonth, which was used to keep track of the phases of the moon. I wouldn't doubt that. Ha! Huh. I honestly never knew the week didn't evenly divide into the year. I never bothered to do the math. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. I don't know, I just never thought about it. It's just one of those things where it's like, why would you even need to know that? It's weird that they show that the week doesn't evenly divide, but not the day. And yeah, it's like once you go from minute to second, it's just like it has to be scientific notation. It's too big. Okay. And let's go back to this. Okay. So like I said, I feel like we need to do a better transition there. But we don't need that, so why not use a calendar that has the same amount of days per month, so that each day of the week would be the same. The 2nd of October could be Tuesday, and the 2nd of December could be a Tuesday as well. I don't know. I honestly don't. I could not think of a reason not to change the calendar. But I can't think of a reason to change the calendar either. It doesn't make a huge difference either way. More efficient managing. How is the current managing less efficient? I'm a play Battlefront. I'm ready to get my butt kicked. Nice. Like, I don't really... It's easier to memorize the dates. I don't have any issue memorizing the dates. The biggest problem I have is I don't know the order of the months. Days in a month is relatively easy to work with. Yeah. Whenever I'm scheduling something, I'm looking at a calendar, which is why I don't know the order of the months. So, if I'm scheduling something and need to know if it's a weekday, I'm already looking at a calendar. It's leap years and leap seconds that is harder. Yeah, like, I don't really know how those really change things. That and time zones when they shift. Yeah, time zones are a huge pain. If you should be advocating for anything, it's time zones. Yeah, but like the month, I don't really see how it's an issue. So we don't need to worry about the days in the month when coding. Yeah. Well, calendar uses leap years, true, but again, I really don't know how leap years affect actually scheduling things. Like, leap year doesn't actually change what order of the week is. I'm not seeing your point whatsoever. Yeah, and no. Like we already showed, there's an uneven amount of weeks in the year. That has nothing to do with leap years. Okay, I see what you're saying, Ewan. But it's not the leap year's problem. The leap year's the patch to the problem. Hmm. Yeah, I could see that being an issue. And I can imagine it being much harder to shift the sun. Though I see your point, negating that. I watched the TED Talk and it made sense. I'm not sure how valid of an argument that is. Because that means you're arguing through second or even third hand information. So, yeah, because you can argue anything and it makes sense. That doesn't mean what it's based on is true. Nah, it was the human calendar man. That's totally how it works. Okay, on that note, it is 2:45. I have to head out. I'm sorry, guys. Tomorrow, I'm going to try and get on the Sprout server. I got to get some motivation to do something, though. So I will see you all then. Hopefully I can make some progress on figuring this out. I think I got most of the issues that I wanted to mention, like, spoken about. So if you guys have any ideas, there's a Mandates Ascension chat in my Discord. So if you want to go in there and mention anything that I'd mentioned today, that would help. And awesome, Ewan. I need to go on there and figure out what I can do because I've been really wanting to play on there, but I don't know what I do, which is the problem. I just need to bite the bullet and get on. So I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully I shouldn't be as congested. I think I was better today. So I'll see you then.